This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic.
Hello, bright soul. Thank you so much for joining me on another podcast. I am coming to you from a beautiful Colorado day. It is my favorite time of year, and that makes me so happy. I can go out in the morning and read. I can turn on my little water feature, which is really like a raging waterfall. I wish it was softer. I wish it had a softer sound, but it was in this home when I moved in, and I'm just grateful for it because I love water. But in any case, I really appreciate the fact that there's not snow on the ground and I can actually go outside in shorts and a t-shirt and sit and listen to the birds and read and journal and do all the things that I love to do. Watch the sunrise, because when I leave the gym now, it's daylight, which is very nice. It's a little bit weird. It makes me look down like, oh my gosh, am I running late? Oh no, that's right. It's this time of year. So, and then when I'm going to bed, because I go to bed so early, it's still blazing bright, but that's fine. It's fine. I'll take it. I love it. Super grateful. And oh my gosh, you all, my daughter got a kitten. Okay, so my daughter she'll be 21 this year. Can you believe it? Does that make you feel ancient? Because it makes me feel ancient. I can't. For those of you who've been with me a long time. So she had went to a 4-year university and did not like the dorm life. It wasn't for her. So she transferred, and now she is going to school while living here and working, because she also likes to be independent and have her own money and work. Even though I give her money, it's not an adequate amount for her personal needs. It is, but she wants her own thing. So it's all good. So anyway, she's working and going to school, and she's been asking me for years about getting a kitten. And a long time ago, I had caved in and let her get a kitten. And the kitten that she picked out was very sick. It had that, what is that thing called? FIP, I think. It's like the feline AIDS. So my daughter has a tendency to pick animals that are sick, which is really interesting. It's because it's just our purpose. So, then when I get them, I'll pour all my money and my resources and my time, and I'll do healing, and I'll take them to alternative vets, and we'll do B12 shots and acupuncture, and it's exhausting, and I get the whole team, let's heal this thing. And so I told her, I don't want this, because every single time you pick an animal, it's sick. And our cat, she's got some PTSD. I mean, I didn't want the cat. I wasn't looking for an animal. She showed up in our life. And I believe I told you all the story of how I ended up having her. She was found on a grocery truck. My coworker at the time, his son was working at the grocery store, found her on a truck. She was all by herself. She was abandoned. She was sick. She was only 5 weeks old. They don't know where she came from. And his cats wouldn't accept her. She was really tiny, like a runt. She's probably the runt of the litter. She's still a very tiny cat. And so he asked me to take her for the night, do healing on her, because he didn't know where to put her. The shelters were going to euthanize her because they were overran and all this. So that night his dog died. So then I knew, oh, well, it's my cat, because I'm not going to go and say about that cat that I kept overnight. I mean, that's just rude and insensitive. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm like, well, there you go. Now we have a cat. So let's get her healthy. Anyway, so she's been with us now. She's 10 years old, and she's been an only child. We call her child. She's been an only child animal. She's leery around other animals. Who knows? I don't know where she came from. So anyway, she didn't accept the first kitten, but that first kitten was very sick, and I had him for 9 months. He was my little hospice kitten. It was just very heartbreaking when he finally passed. And even though I had him living 6 months past his expected lifespan still, and I was so in love with this little thing. So my daughter she has been absolutely wearing me down. Like, I want a kitten. I want a kitten. I need my own kitten, because my cat, cats pick who they pick their person who they want to be with. And so it's been a joke in our house. My cat picks me. I'm like, well, of course, because hello, I'm the kindest. Anyway, it's this little competitive thing. So her coworker has a cat. The cat has kittens. And here we go again. She's starting to beg me for this kitten. And she wanted another orange kitten, because our little hospice kitten was orange. So she wanted another orange kitten. Well, come to this coworker of hers has a litter of kittens. He's the only orange one. All the other ones are like black and brown. But here comes this orange cat that my daughter's been wanting from a coworker who needs to find these animals a home. And at the time, I felt like maybe my cat would like a little friend because she was getting really playful and frisky. So I said, okay, sure, we can get him. That's fine. You can get him. But it's your cat and you have to take care of him. All those things we do with our children. Even though mine's not a child, she's an adult. She's about to be 21. Please, it just makes me feel so elderly. I just cannot believe I'm old enough to have a 21-year-old. Really? Anyway, feels like yesterday she was born. So we get this little thing, and he's a big cat. He's going to be a big cat, and he's so sweet, and he's so persistent, and he's so loving and rambunctious, and he's a climber, and he is the most energetic kitten we've ever had, that I've ever had, and I've had cats growing up. And my poor cat is so miserable. I feel terrible. She gives all the warning signs, the hissing, and I don't want this. And he doesn't listen. He has no boundaries. He does not care. And she'll bap him, swat at him, and he turns right around and does it again. And so it has been a journey for sure. And he's so lovable and he's so adorable. He's tearing up my furniture, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So I'm wondering, because I know a lot of you have multiple cats, we've talked about it. When does the energy settle down? I've activated, and this is so funny, only I can tell you all this. I've activated my cat's heart chakra. I look at her, I activate her heart chakra, like, oh, let's make her more loving and open so she accepts the little guy. But it's really not her. She's asserting boundaries and being careful. She'll tolerate him, it's fine. But when he runs up on her and, swats at her tail and jumps in her face, that's when she's like, hey, wait a minute. She's a still being like me. That's why she's my cat. We like to chill, be calm. We sit in solitude. And then we have this thing that's like running around and jumping on everything. And so that's been the big thing in my house. So when I go down in the mornings to relax, oh my gosh, I just want to relax, listen to the birds. I've got this little thing jumping around, and my cat's hissing every 3 seconds. And we actually waited a long time before we introduced them too. We kept them separated for a whole month. And the introduction went the same way. And I feel so bad because now my cat is hiding in my office, and I'm like, poor little thing. I mean, she's doing okay, but I just feel bad. Anyway, so if you've got any suggestions, I'm all for it. Thank you for listening to my long introduction. Let's go into the topic. And the reason I brought this up is because I was trying to get my daughter, before we got the kitten, to understand why she wants the kitten, because there's a reason why we want everything that we want. And the reason we want it is because we think we will feel better when we have it. It's all about our drive, our underlying drive for the emotions and for the feelings that we think we will achieve by having that thing. And I learned to dissect it when I took my life coaching training. It's really not about the thing. It's about the feeling that you think that you will have when you have the thing. This is why I talk about it. It's the whole acting as if. It's not about faking it until you make it. I know that's one of the ways that we try to get you there, but it's the feeling, and your feeling is what creates the vibration. So to align vibrationally, you get into the feeling. How do you get into the feeling? By imagining that thing. But what I try to get people to actually uncover or discover is, it's not the thing, it's the feeling you're after. And we all have drives. I mean, there's psychological drives, we have a drive for self-fulfillment, we've got basic needs. Self-actualization is one of the human needs. That's for creativity, for development. We've got ego needs. That's our self-esteem, wanting prestige, wanting recognition. Social needs, belonging, connection, feeling loved, inclusion. Physical needs, that's our air, food, water, rest, health, all those things. And then we've got like our security, safety, shelter, stability. So when you are constantly feeling like what you want is out of reach, or you constantly have this longing, it comes from a place of lack. And that is why you feel like you're chasing it constantly and it doesn't come to you, because the vibration you're emitting is lack. I know that this can seem a little bit out there, but stick with me, because this is the way that you actually do manifest things. And sometimes the whole, oh, let's manifest it, becomes an instant eye roll too, because sometimes this stuff seems so not practical. But as you know, I believe spirituality must be carried out in practicality. So my mission is to bridge that, to bring these teachings down to a practical level so you can still be in the world and function and not have to go live in the mountains and cut off from everyone and sit under a pine tree and eat berries and not interact with other people. Okay, so a practical tool that we use in my regular work is the 5 whys. So, the 5 whys is asking yourself why you want it to get to the root. So, I'm going to make this up. I want a relationship. This is a big one for people right now, because even though we have more associates, we have less connection. So, we may have more quantity, we have less quality. It's a whole thing. So, and again, I'm making this up. I want a relationship. Why do you want the relationship? It's really important to get to the root of it. I want the relationship because I feel like I want to have a partner. Okay, why do you want to have a partner? Well, I want to have a partner because I don't want to be lonely. Okay, let's break that down again. Why what is the source of the loneliness? Well, I just want someone to go and do things with. Okay, why do you want someone to go do things with? Okay, and I've had these conversations. Well, I want someone to go do things with because I'm a little strange and I like to do, weird things, and I would like someone to do those things. Why do you want to do that? Because I want connection. You keep drilling it down until you get to the root of the emotion that you are trying to feel. It's never about the things. The reason people want money is because they believe that they will feel better having the money. Why? Usually because they're after security or safety or freedom. There's always a root cause or a root emotion or a source that you're trying to get to. And if you can drill it down, then you can focus on that feeling. And there's another thing that I encounter a lot is where people say, I don't know how that feels. I've never had it. I don't know how it feels. Okay, almost everything that I have created in my life, I've had to just create it out of pie in the sky. I never created these things because I never experienced them because I'm a cycle breaker. So I didn't have a model. I didn't have anyone showing me how to do these things. And I didn't know anybody that actually lived the life that I wanted to live. I did not have that. So what I did is I sought out authors and people, random strangers on the internet, but actually this is before the internet. So just books and authors and radio stations and blah, blah, blah. And I listened to their story and how they got to where they are. And I took those little bits of information and made them someone that could be kind of like a mentor, even though I'm not interacting with them directly. I could look at the things that they did and how they did it and be very inspired by that. And the inspiration gives me the emotion that I'm after. The other thing you can do is guided visualizations. You can do guided meditations. And I've done so many on this channel, like offered them. And I'm doing a lot of guided visualizations and meditations on my Patreon. And I've done downloads and things that are on my website. I know I haven't done recent ones. I've done them though, and there are like some really great topics. So there's all ways that you can do it. And you can use me as that person. I mean, we're connected. Obviously, there's something here that we have some kind of exchange going where we're in resonance. So you can even use me. I'm fine with that. So this is, I find, the quickest way to release the resistance and get into the vibration and let go of the outcome, because honestly, you're just trying to go after the feeling anyway. The feeling is what creates the vibration. So when you have that feeling, then it's like, okay, well, I already have the feeling. So all the other stuff is just extra. Then you're not having this clingy, desperate, lack type of energy that is very low vibrational and it pushes things away. You want to get into a flow state. And a flow state is when you are in the higher vibrational scale, the emotions that are the higher vibrational scale. And then you can just kind of relax and flow and let things be. So that is all I wanted to share, and I hope that helps. Let's go into a healing. You can uncross your arms and legs, and I'll turn it on. Okay, and so it is. During that healing, I could hear someone saying, "This can't happen for me. It's not going to work for me." I would suggest, if that's you, go back and listen to my healings and the podcast on limiting beliefs, because that simply is not true. That's just a thought form that you've created. It's a habit that you can break. It takes work, but it's completely worth it. And you made that up. You made it up. We make these limiting beliefs and these stories up, and we don't even know that they're true. And just because it might have been true in the past doesn't mean it's true now, because you're different and you're stepping into something different. And oftentimes we are the ones stopping ourselves. It's most of the time, actually. So, as always, I want to invite you to join our Patreon, High Vibe Lightworker Tribe. It's in my show notes. Also, breathwork, pause breathwork. It's in my show notes if you're interested. And as always, I send my sincere gratitude, and I wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.